Hello and welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Joyce Dairo and we continue with a series of videos on emotional wellness. And today I thought about talking about the science behind emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence has to do with combining emotions that we experience with reasoning because we give meaning to the emotions that we experience through reasoning, so that, as I said in my previous video, you are able to judge the source of the emotions, and by rationalizing, you're able to minimize the intensity of the emotion. So it is good for us to talk about the science behind emotional intelligence, and I thought about this diagram which talks about the brain, the human brain. And according to Dr. Paul MacLean, he says that the brain has three parts. It has three parts. There's the old brain. The old brain is also called the R complex. It is the part of the brain that controls the things that that happen to us when we are unconscious about it. For example, breathing, circulation, digestion, movement, reproduction, and so on. This is the first part that is created when the first part of the brain that is created when the baby is in the mother's womb, because these functions actually start developing at conception. And as the brain develops, we have the emotional center, or the middle brain, or the limbic complex. This is called the emotional center of the brain. It is developed next from the old brain, or the R complex. And this is called, is where the emotions happen. This is where emotions happen. And this is the center of emotions. This is the center of subjective senses, for example, purpose, duty, relationships. This is where we make judgments. This is where decision making is made. Actually, it is important to know that we make decisions emotionally, then we rationalize. For example, you're just walking home and you hear that there is a sale somewhere. You get in and you are moved emotionally by the marketers, and you buy things that you did not intend to buy. So that is decision making is actually done here. And then the last part of the brain to be developed in the human being is what we call the new brain, or the neocortex. This is the center of reasoning, the center of analysis. This is where we talk about the IQ, the center of learning mathematical calculations, language. This is a center for abstract thought, and this is where we have consciousness. Now, remember, in the old brain, things are happening without you being conscious. Blood circulation, digestion. You need not be conscious for these things to happen. Also, in the emotional center of the brain, or the middle brain, these are things that are happening without you being conscious of them. But now consciousness happens here in the new brain, the new neocortex. So how are emotions actually formed at this particular point? So I have this other diagram where I'm just showing this the same image, but now it's easier to understand. So we receive stimuli from the environment through our five senses, that is the sight, the hearing, the touch, the smell, and the taste. And when that stimuli gets here, it is actually transported to the limbic center, or the emotional center of the brain. And you're able to feel here, because once you receive the stimuli, you're able, or whatever is happening in there, whatever you taste, whatever you feel, whatever you hear, whatever you see, it goes here, the same point here we said, where judgments are made. So you're able to judge that particular stimuli and give it meaning, and actually you have a feeling here before it gets to the rational center. That is where we think. So it is important for us to know that we feel first before we actually think. We feel first before we actually think. And that is the reason why people who are not emotionally intelligent, as I'm going to talk about, however educated they may be, you may find them having road rage. You have seen people fighting on the roads. Probably they have a small accidents and they forget all their credentials, all their position in society, and they start hurling insults at each other. We say at this point, this center here has already been hijacked by the emotions, and people are not able to reason. Because the emotional center actually houses our beliefs, our values, our attitudes, and these are the things that actually help generate the emotions that these values, beliefs, and attitudes trigger. For example, you may have experienced a bad you have may have had a bad experience, let's say in childhood, about something. The best example I give is, for example, if somebody had had a snake bite. Anytime you see a rope on the floor, actually the tendency is to jump, because we are actually associating that whatever we have seen with our eyes, it has been transported to the limbic center. You just see that as a snake, and so people react and express emotions because of something that does not exist. So what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is being able to connect the emotional center with the thinking center, so that we are able to reason rationally. We are able to reason and reason quickly before we react based on our emotions. Because we realize that a brain image scientist, due to advancement in technology, brain imaging scientists are able to study what happens in the brain, and they are telling us that the emotional brain is much more active than the thinking brain. So in emotional intelligence, we are saying, make your new brain, or the rational brain, respond faster, or respond quickly, respond more than the emotional center, such that when you are faced with, you have a stimuli from the environment. Let's say somebody has annoyed you, you will be able to rationalize very quickly before, let's say, you do something that is not allowed. For example, you may realize that many people are in jail just because they received a stimuli from the environment, and they reacted without thinking. Let's say somebody was, let's say, insulted by another, and then he hit this person. Unfortunately, probably they hit them at their lowest point and they died, and somebody is jailed for life just because they were not able to connect the limbic center system of the brain with the rational center. So it is important for us to develop these skills, so that we are able even to move smoothly in society. You cannot keep reacting to every stimuli from the environment. That way, you cannot move anywhere. You be labeled emotionally, as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. You'll be called illiterate. You'll be emotionally intelligence illiterate, and life will be very, very difficult for you. So that's what I wanted us to talk about in this. Remember, we have three brains in one: the triune of the brain, according to Dr. Paul MacLean. Talks about the old brain that is responsible for your breathing, then the emotional center, which is actually very active here, and then we have the thinking brain. And the brain imaging scientists are telling us the emotional brain is much more acting than the thinking brain. But we need to be conscious, so that we're able to rationalize when you're faced with a stimuli that can create intense emotions based on the judgments that you make at this particular point, based on your past experiences. And that is why we need to even critique our experiences and say that they do not define us. If you, let's say, you are raised in a home where people used to shout at one another, you do not have to live that. That is a perspective that you need to critique and challenge and decide you will do things differently. You rationalize and say, I will do things very differently. Besides how I was socialized as a child, because many people are living, their childhood way of doing things, and we go to school so that we challenge this belief system, we challenge these values, we challenge these attitudes, so that we do away with those that do not serve us. And then once we do that, we will actually be very calm, even in situations that probably would otherwise mean that we react differently. And of course, that is the art of leadership. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Follow me for other videos. Thank you.